On the podcast, This American Life, a few weeks ago, heard this woman tell a story about her favorite movie of all time, when she was a little girl at least, was The Sound of Music. Raise your hand if you've ever seen The Sound of Music. Okay. Yeah, very popular, right? So, you know how little kids can watch the same movie over and over and over again? It used to drive me crazy when my kids were little. I never want to see Bambi again after my daughter watched it like 19,000 times. But so when this girl was 6 or 7 years old, that was The Sound of Music for her. She just watched it over and over again. So now she's in her 40s, and in this podcast she's talking about recently, she was talking to a friend, and the friend said, "So you liked The Sound of Music when you were a little girl, like first and second grade?" She said, "Yeah." She goes, "Didn't the Nazis in that movie scare you?" And the woman said, "What Nazis? I don't remember Nazis in that movie." She said, "Yeah, there's Nazis in it." "No, there's not." She said, "Okay, it's Maria, and she goes to live with this family with all these kids, no mom, and a dad who's mean and nasty, and the oldest daughter falls in love with this cute little mailman named Rolf, and he comes over and he sings this song to her, and they dance together, and it's just this beautiful movie about love, right?" She goes, "I think you're missing some parts." So she went around and asked other friends, "Are there Nazis in The Sound of Music?" And they all said, yeah, of course there are. Where have you been? So she decides to try to figure out how she missed this. I mean, she realizes I was a little girl, but surely I would have noticed these evil people. And so she goes back to her parents' old house. And guys, some of you are too young to remember the days of VHS, right? But that's what the movie was on. It was on a VHS cassette. And she finds the old copy, and it turns out it was such a long movie, they had to put it on 2 VHS cassettes, right? And she had only watched the first one. She realized she was missing the whole back half of the movie. So here in her 40s, she sits down and for the first time watches the whole movie from end to end. And she is shocked and horrified to learn a couple of things. First of all, not only are there Nazis in The Sound of Music, but spoiler alert, Rolf is one of them, right? And he's not a cute little mailman. He's actually a messenger boy for the Nazis. And as if that is not bad enough, sweet Maria falls in love with the mean, nasty dad and becomes Mrs. Von Trapp, horror of horrors. And so the whole movie is different than what she thought it was. And I think that's the way a lot of Christians are towards the Bible. I've known a lot of Christians who think they know what the scriptures teach, at least the broad outlines. They would never claim to be theologians or Bible scholars, and they will gladly admit, I don't read the Bible like I should. And I've never actually read the whole thing cover to cover, but I know the basic storyline. I know the main characters. I know the gist of the teachings. And I've seen these Christians, and they get to be in middle age, and they realize, okay, I should probably read this thing, and they're shocked at how much stuff there is in Scripture that they've never heard of. And personally, as a pastor, I take that personally and realize if pastors did a better job, then Christians would know more of the Scriptures, and they would be more challenged to read them for themselves. So that's a downfall on my part, on our part. But I think this is especially true when it comes to biblical teaching about wealth, about possessions, about finances and money. When you go to some churches, you get the impression that Jesus' teachings on money were pretty similar to what Bill Gates might write or Elon Musk might write when he talks about how to get rich. And there are teachings in the Bible that have to do with hard work, with money management, but a lot of those are common sense. You don't have to be a Christian to believe in those. A lot of times I feel like we as American Christians get the teachings of the Bible on wealth mixed up with the American dream. So the American dream is that anybody, if they work hard enough and they're disciplined, can go from poor to rich, from outhouse to penthouse. And it's true to a certain extent. I mean, our country is very, very blessed with affluence and opportunity and freedom. There's a reason why people keep trying to move here. So if you're good at something that pays well, and you manage your money well, and you get some good breaks, so you don't have any major medical problems, you don't go through any financial downturns, you know the right people, yes, you can really rise up from the slums to a mansion in this country. But that's not what the Bible teaches. The American dream is great, but it's not biblical. What does Jesus actually say about money? Because he talked about money and possessions quite a lot. But it wasn't how to get rich. It wasn't how to improve yourself financially. his message was something very different. And that's what I'm going to be talking to you over the next 4 weeks.